Imagine being so excited for a project that you forget memes. When I saw Andymation's video introducing his Flipbook of the Rings project, link in doobly, I flipped. Pun intended. I was so excited and knew I absolutely had to participate. In my excitement, I went and signed up on the site and searched available clips, completely forgetting that there are certain iconic scenes that became memes. I mean, they had been taken anyway, but even if they hadn't, I wouldn't have thought to pick them, probably. The scene I ended up going for was of Arwen carrying an injured Frodo on horseback to get him healed, while also avoiding the Nazgul chasing them. I wish I could say I picked this clip for a very profound reason, like Jabbage mentions in her video, link in doobly, but honestly, I just wanted to draw horses. I've been trying to improve my drawing, so I decided to go for a scene with horses in high action, as a means to practice drawing and animating both. I also knew I shouldn't overestimate my ability, focus, commitment by going for a longer clip. The clip I chose was high action, no repetition in the frames, and short. Only 5 seconds, a total of 60 frames. Despite twinges of intimidation I occasionally got, especially in the hot minute it took for the flipbook paper to arrive, seriously, it took like a day. Thank you, Andy and team. I knew I could handle that much. But believe me, my ego was really tempted to go for a 10, 15, 20 second clip. I really had to fight that urge. It's cool in theory, but I knew my limits. And it hit fairly early how, even if this is just a traced project, this was by no means going to be easy. The very first frame was one that was not encouraging to look at, even once I had things figured out. It was a bit of a rough start for me, but I was really determined to not give up. My process was to get my room super dark, turn my laptop screen brightness all the way up, and use washi tape to fixate the flipbook paper directly onto my screen and trace from there. I'd say it worked fairly well, though I do think a light pad would have provided better backlight. I was originally thinking I would outline the borders of the pages to get that part done with, but after doing around 20 pages of that, I decided against it. My lines were inconsistent, and I figured it would be easier and more efficient to trace the outlines with each individual frame rather than going through trying to fix the wonky ones. And so I got going. I really like things that involve easy, repetitive tasks. It lets my hands do something while letting my mind zone out and daydream. This project, and animation in general, is a masterclass in breathing, slowing down, releasing perfectionism, persisting, and trusting the process. My mantra while working through the frames became, when in doubt, motion blur, between deep breaths. There were many pages where I just couldn't tell what I was looking at, and I got stuck a couple times going back and forth between my outline and the original. And there were some frames that were so challenging that I didn't record time-lapse footage because my mental capacity held only enough space for me to focus on figuring those out. When in doubt, motion blur. It helped ground me with the reminder that there are rarely any real mistakes with art. That the decisions that I make will be my chosen style for this project, and in the long run, even if I do make a mistake on one frame, the whole project will not be ruined. Any mistake I make will likely not even be noticed, let alone remembered. It's 12 frames per second, so a one-frame mistake lasts for 1/12 of a second. It's just not worth stressing over. And I pushed through. In these short 5 seconds, the camera angle changes 3 times. After getting through the first few frames, Arwen becomes clearer in view, and then the camera angle changes into a clearer, more zoomed out view, and the angle after that was even easier to work with, being a zoom in on the bottom half of the horse. The final angle was a bit difficult, but I was able to get into a zone while working, and it ended up being not so bad. Before I knew it, I had a finished, sketched version of my clip, and for a while I was tempted to leave it at that. But while sketching, my thought process was to get the dark sections blocked off, then figure out what those dark sections actually were in the shots, between leaves, branches, cloths, and my personal favorite, Frodo's limp leg just popping out randomly. I outlined in harder pencil lines, but not darker, and then later used a black ink brush pen and fine liners to add more contrast. Used a sepia-toned brush pen for the tree barks and branches, and colored pencils for everything else. Thank you again to Andymation for putting together this amazing project. It's been a wonderful experience working on this and sharing my progress and seeing everyone else's in the Discord. And holy heck, I have never seen such a supportive group of strangers. I mentioned this in my recent YouTube short, but I've really been thrilled to work with these fellow nerds, sharing ideas, sketches, art and style tips, comparing our medium of choice, and Lego sets. So many Lego sets. It's really amazing. It's truly been a wonder to see in real time the pieces of the different segments come together, and we all seem to think the same thought in unison. The final result is going to be amazing.